Hi, everyone. It is Cheryl Hickerson with Females and Finance. And it's the Tuesday topic series. We started this in 2023. Every single Tuesday, we feature a member of our membership and my friends. That's the way I look at them. And today we are being graced with Domenick DeAndrea's presence from DanDarah
Hey.
Wealth. I knew you would say something. He's going to talk about something that's very near and dear to me because once upon a time, I ran social media for the largest insurance brokerage office in the United States. And when I took that role on, it wasn't a job. We actually didn't have that as a job. I was hired to run national accounts. So I was the people that they would send in and work with the very large accounts and bring them in. And I'm quite good at that. But what was happening was accounts would come into our office and then they would ask for the president of the company. And then they'd say, well, where's Cheryl Brown? And they're like, why do you know her? That's social media. That's just on social, I just was out there just trying to be nosy and get to know people if I'm being really transparent. And apparently the way I was going about doing it was quite authentic, and the rest took off and they asked me to run their social media department. And the thing that I'm most proud about is the day that I left that job, I left to start Females in Finance, but it took them 3 people. They had to hire 3 people to do the work that I did. And I felt kind of good about that because I'm a very efficient marketer. So I do run Females in Finance pretty much by my lonesome to some degree. I build the website, I do the graphic design, I do the posting, I do the all the engagement. So when I look at folks like Domenick and say, hey, I see you out there quite a bit. What are you doing? And then the Tuesday topic came up and I asked him if he would speak. He very generously said he would. And so today we're here to talk about why you love social media. So Domenick, can you give us a little bit of background?
First, I got to answer the question the right way.
All
You
right.
said, would I get on a podcast? And I said, I'm available that day was the exact answer I gave you.
Yes, it was.
Not knowing what day or time it was going to be. I just told you I was available.
Yeah, he just made himself available, which I was very, very grateful for. I met you at the Risk Allies conference face to face, and you signed our Fearless Pledge. Thank you for doing that. So you're committed as a male ally to helping us hire, mentor, train, and advance more women. And this is one of the methods that you do that work through. But could you talk a little bit about your background in wealth management?
I've been in the industry for over 28 years, captive for almost 25 of those years. If I would have known the difference between captive and open architecture, it would have flipped. It definitely would have been 25 years captive. I love the world we're in, the connections I can make. I was never able to go to these meetings. I didn't know these meetings existed. So if I was still captive, I wouldn't have met Cheryl. We didn't, they didn't bring us to this stuff. We had our convention once a year and we talked to the same people every year. Now the world's open. So I get to meet a lot of different people at a lot of different places. I've got to the point where I've met 2 different people at 2 different conferences, like not even speakers or something, just they were at the same conferences at 2 different occasions. So it's a network, it's growing, it's meeting, going to these things is how my social media acumen has grown. I tell everybody when you go into a conference, if there's somebody talking about tech or somebody talking about social media, those are the ones you want to go to. And, I've built up my deck. I've seen what works from the people that are the experts. And then I find a way to incorporate whichever ideas I feel will benefit me and my practice. And then work them out so now I can reap the rewards and then talk about factually how I'm reaping the rewards instead of just saying, well, you could try this or you could try that. I've gotten results from it.
Yeah. One of the things I want to point out on this particular conversation is we were just both of us on a podcast with our friends, Charlie Van Derven and Matt Howland. One of the things, and Matt and I are great, 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 great friends. One of the things that was brought up was talking about the algorithm. What I find fascinating about individuals such as yourself and many others is it's not like you get up and go, oh, how do I, please the algorithm? How do I feed the algorithm? You're getting up and I'm watching you because I see you do it. Like you're at an event and you take a video of yourself and you're putting yourself out there in a very vulnerable space. Like, who cares if your video's off or it's shaking a little bit or what? You're doing it. I think that a lot of times I tell people on social media, the opinions are plentiful from the cheap seats, until you start doing it. Okay. And what I think is really also interesting is you do have a compliance background. as far as like you have a compliance wrapper was what I mean by that. People have to approve. And it looks like it's probably a post approval. Like you can go ahead and post and then they take a look at it afterwards. But what I think, going back to the algorithm for a second, because I was listening to people that I love dearly, and I thought, I don't want any advisor to hear about that algorithm. I want them to do the things that are very natural, near and dear to who they are, and talk that way. Because I think when we overthink it, I liken it to this. For every one of you on the call right now that's on a video, you probably have one of these smartwatches on your wrist. Very likely, many of you do. There you go. Thank you for showing them. Do you know that I used to work out more and walk more when I didn't wear this thing? Because now what happens is I'm so worried about making sure that all the circles are closed. And did I set it off? And instead of just getting out there, just doing it, I wasn't able to track my steps. It just worked out. So going back for you, talk about when you get up, because one of the things I know about you, you said it in this morning's meeting too, was the consistency. I want you to talk about your consistency of what you do, where you're doing a lot of your posting, and the kind of content you're posting.
Great question. This all started April 1st of last year, that I realized I needed to do more and different things. So I said, I was at a conference the year before and I learned about eating the frog. And I said, so my eat the frog was going to be between 8 and 8:30 every morning after I drop my daughter from school, or if I wake up on a Saturday or Sunday when this family's still sleeping. I make sure I try to post something. I make sure that I get out and comment and start conversations with numerous people that are on this call right now. I've had conversations with this week alone. Derek and Natalie are big conversationalists back and forth. So I make sure that's part of my day. If I'm upset with myself if I don't do it. And if I don't do it between 8 and 8:30 for a specific reason, I will make sure that at some point in the day I make up for it, because I want to be part of the community, part of the conversations. Like every Wednesday and Friday, I post two specific things. Wednesdays are Plan Sponsor Wednesdays with Domenick, and Fridays are Human Resources Marketing with Domenick. I don't do human resources. I don't do plan sponsors, but I want to get into the 401k market more and more. So I put free information out there that has started to draw traction. I started this in August and September. I started HR first, then plan sponsor second. That's the biggest thing. I started my 8 to 8:30. I got that working. Then I added human resources. Then I added plan sponsor. This week, what Cheryl was talking about was my first 3 videos that I posted walking around. I bought my toys to do it. Now every conference I go to, you're going to see me walking around at some point with it, because now I made a commitment that at the conferences, I'm going to talk about it. And what that does, it's showing people that I'm out there getting educated. So if a client or a prospective client is looking at it, they see, okay, Domenick doesn't think he knows everything. He's going to this conference, and these are the topics or the speakers that he's going to learn about or listen to that day. And now it's going to add more value to me as somebody is looking at our social media, which if somebody called you up or somebody was given as a referral, they're looking at you on social media. They might not tell you they looked at you on social media, but I can bet you they will, because they want to see your beliefs. They want to see who you are. Every one of us has an industry. Every one of us does what we do. If you did a halfway decent job on LinkedIn, it tells me who you are and what you did, but it doesn't tell me who you are.
Yeah.
Like I'll post pictures of me out with my daughter, out with my son, charitable events, my dog, which my dog is, for whoever doesn't know this, my dog is my chief rollover specialist on my website. That's gotten me a ton of traction because people love dogs and kids. They love me when they talk to me, but when they see my picture, they'd rather see the kids and the dogs, not me.
Yeah.
I have fun with it. I'll give you a funny story. I was at a conference in October, and I'm walking to dinner with a wholesaler and her team, and this dog was out, and it had a little medic thing around its neck. And I found out the dog's name was Fender, and I took a picture with him, and I said, my new friend Fender is going to help rescue you from inflation. Just out and out, it was there. by coming out and just looking in your environment and seeing what's there, it's going to help you grow. I go to charity events. I don't put on it. Look at me. I'm a great guy. I talk about the charity. I talk about how I'm benefiting them. And the more I participate, I got a 401k from a law firm. Third time I went to this charity. I will continue to go, not because I got the law firm as a 401k. I believe in the charity, and people see that. An autism society, I biked for them, and that got me. Then I did an axe throwing event for the fundraiser, and at that they didn't have a photographer for their Valentine's Day party, which was a couple weeks ago. So that's one of my biggest hobbies. I love taking pictures. If my kids are doing something and I'm allowed to take pictures, my camera's out, my video recorder's out, I'm doing something. But I wear my branded material at these events. So at least there's something that if they see me, they might ask something. I'm taking pictures, and a gentleman came up to me and says, I need help with a trust and potentially my retirement plan of work. Can you help me? I said, sure. He gave me his card. He said, call me in a few weeks. So next week I'm giving him a call. That stuff doesn't happen if they don't see you doing stuff, and then they don't see you presenting yourself. I met a lawyer, private personal injury lawyer, last April in a charity event, and we connected. And he wanted, we were talking, and he was like, "Oh, yeah, give me a call, we'll get together. Give me a call, we'll get together." And it just kept going and going and going. Where I thought it was never going to happen. Come December, he thanked me for keeping in touch with him, but he said, "I'm meeting with you because I see how you give back." So he saw all the different charity events that I posted throughout the time, smiling, helping out, doing whatever I needed to do. I met with him, and he did over $8 million in settlements last year and had nobody to refer his clients to. So now if he gets a client that doesn't have an advisor, guess who's getting a phone call?
Exactly. And I think Natalie Hales made a really good point in here too. She said, sharing the diary of your life lets people get to know you. They may associate your business, but it's more important, more about the insight into you as a person. One of the things I want to back up that you said, because I'm going to give some validation to what you said. I heard one time there was a gentleman who got into a little tussle with me on Twitter, told me I was wrong, whatever. I'm slept very well that night. I don't care. But he said, my clients aren't out on social media. That is an enormous mistake to think, because they are. Even older people stalking people, they're learning how to go down rabbit holes of comments and stuff and learning how to do that. So I want to tell a story about why this is so important, specifically to LinkedIn. So I tell everybody, pick and choose your accounts, but you have to be on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn and Google have a very special friendship, a kinship, a relationship. They're literally across the street from each other in Mountain View, California. Okay. So when you walk out of the LinkedIn office, you are looking right at Google. The Google bikes are there and vice versa. I've been there. I know good people in marketing, so I get to invited to a lot of those things. But one of the things that I found out during one of those visits was that Google gives LinkedIn a free push, a special push. So when you're on LinkedIn and they go put in Domenick, DanDarah in there, your LinkedIn is going to be way up there at the top. And that's very intentional, very free. Take advantage of that. Okay. They're going to go in and see what you're posting. They're going to go in and see who you are. Make sure it's filled out. I'm amazed at how many people still to this day do not fill out their LinkedIn profile. Pictures are like from high school, no email address, no website, no phone number. And yet every one of them, I will pick up the phone and I will actually take the time to call or email or text and say, are you really wanting clients for this, or why are you on here? Well, yeah, I do. Well, then fill out your crap, because I'm not going to go. If you think they can get that on my website, they're not going to your website. They're off on Amazon buying socks. They don't care about that. They're not going to go do that. You have one time to make that one opportunity, as Eminem says, make it happen. Use that space. The other thing too, that I think is important that Domenick talked about, and I think Natalie's pushing on it as well in her comments, is, and it's very high with women, I call it my KLTs, my no like trust factors. Do they know Domenick? That if they don't even know you, they're not going to trust you. Do they like you? Yeah, they got family. He's a family person. He's being charitable. And then, do I trust you? Those first two have to, and those are repeatedly a touch, a touch, a touch. And that's what I think I love about user consistency. And I think it was Dr. Pollard who said on here, like, Domenick always shows up. He's there. He's consistent. That's so critical to everything you're saying right now.
Every time I go to a conference where I'm seeing people that I've connected with at previous, they tell me, I turn on LinkedIn and you're there. I hear that all the time. I'm not there because I'm the best, smartest, greatest person in the world. I'm best there for what you said. I make sure I show up. I make sure I'm constantly active and participating, because it's social media.
Yeah.
It says be social in the title.
Yeah.
If you're going to go there and post once a month and then complain that you're not getting any traction, you're not going to. You post once a month, nobody knows who you are except for your close friends. No one's going to find you. No one's going to see you, and no one's going to engage with you.
Yeah. And you know, one thing else I love about you is you do share like your personal things, even on LinkedIn. I know some people got opinions about that. I say naysayers, don't even listen to that. And the reason why I say that is because I'd rather get to see you interacting with your daughter on LinkedIn, where I'm more likely to see your stuff, than I am on Facebook, because Facebook, I already know Facebook. Don't come at me. LinkedIn, you talk about the lessons you're teaching her, the importance of showing up, taking her to all of these things. And I think there's a lot of people who kind of self-identify with either one. Maybe they didn't have a great dad and you're a good dad, and it's refreshing to see.
Thank you.
Maybe it is, you're a really good dad. And I think that you are talking about the things that she's learning and how you're learning. And I would much prefer to see that side of you than every single post be about a 401k. Like I wouldn't, or wealth management in general. It's like, don't want to see that. And I think that's really, really important. Natalie also added in here too. The SEO from LinkedIn is powerful. People are lurking long before they meet you. Write the story and instead of letting others write that story. And I think Derek also put in here 17 individual touch points on your personal LinkedIn profile. It just takes a lot. It just takes a lot, and you're showing up in a good way. One of the other things I wanted to do was, let's talk about compliance. Friend or foe?
It's both. I've learned the dance, so I know what I can do and push the envelope on. And in fact, when I go to the Napa 401k Summit in San Diego in April, I have free time. I'm actually one of my big bosses wants me to go speak to the marketing team when I have some free time, which I do, because their office is not far from where I'm going to be.
Yeah.
Because they want to build a marketing template. Because I'll give you an example what happened to me. I was at my conference and I found out that we're now allowed to brand our website with our colors. It doesn't have to be our purple anymore.
Mm-hmm.
A team got approved. It took me 3 days and different people to approve me to do it, when there should be a template that once one person's allowed, as long as the next person is under the same guidelines, okay, rubber stamp, done.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the biggest problem, is they don't talk to each other. I'll get something approved and Cheryl will go and Cheryl will talk to Derek. I talk to Natalie, and I'm not picking on anybody. Yeah. Natalie approved me. Derek interpreted a little bit differently, but if you would have got Natalie, you would have got approved. Now you got to go back and say, well, Domenick got approved. And then they look at it and say, okay, you can be approved. So that's really where they hurt us more than anything, is they're afraid to do things. They don't have a template for when they approve things. If we can just get them to build the templates, to say, okay, we approve this, and then now this can be done for anybody that falls under the qualifying reasons for it.
Yeah. And it's funny. I did social media for a small broker dealer, and it was the most awful job ever, honestly, because the other problem that I've also found in compliance, I'm not anti-compliant at all, but I do have a problem when I hear the compliance officer say this sentence, and it's more than often I've heard this than not. I hate social media. As soon as I hear a compliance officer say they hate social media, no matter what you're doing, 100% you're going to have a problem at some point with that person, because it's become a bane of their existence in this role, instead of, to your point, making things a little more cookie cutter to make it easy to move on. And it was funny because, going back to your point just a second ago, I was literally taking one profile of one person in an office and I was replicating it for them. We were actually doing the social for them. And depending on who was in compliance at the time, oh, this one's fine. Oh, this one's not. I'm like, it's literally the same. Well, then that one's wrong too. Are you kidding me? So that's where I think compliance gets a nasty name. That's on them. But I also want to say that I think that compliance does bring some balance to the
Oh, you
comp.
gotta look, you shouldn't be saying you're guaranteeing something or look, if it's whatever you say on social media should be the same verbiage that if you're sitting in front of a client. You're not going to say something stupid to your client. So why would you say it on social media? If you keep that pace, like I said, we are post approval.
Yeah.
I don't have any problems because I'm not saying stuff that I know I can't say.
Yeah.
I'm just doing it, and I'm not. And the point is, I don't want to wait for approval. Like those videos that you saw me do this week.
Yeah.
I want to put the video out the day I'm at the conference, not 3
Yeah.
days when I'm already home from the conference and everybody knows I'm home.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. That's a really good point. How about this? Does anybody on here have some questions for Domenick? I want to make certain that I'm going to put it this way so we can all see each other on here. I'd love to see, or hear just questions in general about social media and others. I will say this, not to pick on men, but I do think that women do social media pretty well. Like personable, friendly kind of stuff that they're putting out. Whereas I'll see the guys keep posting the exact same thing. Like I don't want to know about. I gotta be honest with you. I don't want to see a single another post about Silicon Valley Bank right now. I just do not. It's a sore subject for a lot of people. Okay. Not interested, especially whenever I see people posting Wall Street Journal articles that say it's because of their diversity metrics, and it really pisses me off. So right now I'm like, don't even post that stuff. I don't want to see it. Okay. So
that's actually stupid because that's not what it's about.
I know exactly.
It was
Thank
about
you.
their
We're all on the
horrific
same page.
investing strategy, and the government giving them the money is only letting other banks do the same thing. You got to punish people. Look,
Loose
if I did that
governance.
stupid investing on my own and I lost all my money, no one's giving me my money back.
Loose regulation and governance. I mean, that's literally where we're at with that. But that's my point, though. Carrie.
Domenick, I was going to ask you, what do you find most beneficial? How many postings per week would you recommend on LinkedIn?
Are you posting presently regularly?
Yes.
Yeah, she does.
How many are you putting up?
About twice a week.
And how many of those are your business and how many of those are personal?
Well, it's all business.
So that's great. The 2 to 5, but again, like the business is great, but that's expected postings from you. Whatever your passion is, whatever things you have, like, I post charities, I post my children, I post my dog, I have passion. I post things that I'm doing marketing wise, fun stuff. Like one of the posts I did, I found a pair of socks in Utah coming home from Risk-A-Lize. It was when pigs fly. It was when pigs fly. And I took a picture of the socks and I said, I'm always going to make sure I promise to keep my promises, something like for my clients until pigs fly.
That's good. That's really good.
Oh, Derek wants my lock screen hack. I showed you that, Derek?
Share your phone lock screen. That design hack's getting a lot of traction.
Yes. What I have on my phone screen, a lot of people don't know that LinkedIn has a QR code built in it for every one of us. If you don't know, you just got to click on select and your name, and then to the right of that's going to be the QR code. You click on that. I saved it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show it here because of the screen. It's like hard, but I can send a picture. I can take a picture.
How about this? For anybody who's on video, and if you're not, just put a comment. How many of you know how to get to your QR code on LinkedIn? Do you know? Do you want to know if you don't know? Because I can tell you. And okay, for every person, if you have an iPhone, it's going to be. If you don't,
it's the same thing for both.
It'd be the same for both. I want you to pull up your LinkedIn profile, okay, or just LinkedIn. Pull up your LinkedIn app. Up here where it says search.
Yeah, Derek's got.
Yep, search, and you're going to see this little button here in the search. Click that bad boy. And there it is.
Yep. And then what I did was I saved it to Canva.
Good, Derek. Good job.
Yes. I saved it to
Karina,
Canva. Put it on
Hold on
Canva
one second,
wallpaper. Sorry.
Karina,
Sorry to interrupt you. Mine doesn't show, but I wonder because I'm using the browser, I don't have the app.
Yeah, you have to use the app.
You have to use the
Okay,
app.
I
yes.
need to download it. I should anyways. I'm in the process of like revamping it, but I need to submit it to compliance and it's a pain. But
Well, the
Oh, I
QR
know.
code exists in the world. So what I did was, and you can do it as fancy as you're not or not, I took my QR code, put it into Canva, put my company logo. So when I hand my phone to you to do it, you're gonna see my company logo, and then you just scan it on my phone, so I don't have to open it up. You don't have to realize how to spell my name, which a lot of people spell my name wrong. I'll give you a funny story about a marketing guy on LinkedIn. He was trying to connect with me to whatever his marketing product was, and he spelled Domenick wrong. Anybody want to raise their hand that thinks he got a response from me that was nice and I was gonna work with him? Raise your hand if you think that happened. It didn't. You're right. I'm like, how can I work with a marketing person that's looking at my LinkedIn account, sees my name, and can't spell it right? How am I going to trust that you know what you're doing in a marketing campaign?
Now, you know that I get it every day with a name like Cheryl and I don't spell with a C.
Yes.
And people literally went to my LinkedIn profile, type in my thing, and it still says hi CHER. I'm like, hello, you didn't
Yeah.
read it.
Exactly. And then are you going to talk to them?
To defend a very small percentage,
Yeah.
it does autocorrect. So my wife's name is Sarah with an H. I will text and it'll take the H off as I'm hitting send. I don't know why it does that. It's so frustrating, but that could be the case. Domenick, I think you're right. I think most people are just not paying attention. I will say that just because of my fear of misspelling, I always take the person's name out of their signature and just copy it right into the headline of my email. But a lot of times that also catches accent marks. And I actually had a woman write back to me thanking me for including the accent mark because no one ever does, and that's her true name.
But
And
that's
I
over there
paid her
going-
whole day, and it was just because I was
Yeah.
afraid of spelling something wrong.
But
I
that's
was going to say, I bet Claire feels strongly about that.
Can
I
you
do too,
share
also.
how to include that accent mark? Because I have yet to figure that out.
So on your mobile phone, if you're typing in an E, just hold it
Hold
down.
the E.
And then,
It'll
and
show
if
it.
you're on a Mac desktop, when you hit E, hold it down, and then it will say like number 2, like mine's an accent aigu. So it depends.
I'm from
Okay.
Missouri, even though we're very French here. I don't even know what that was. I was very
So I will say on a lot of things that if you put it in, it doesn't accept it. Like I wish I could do it on my email address.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one would be hard.
Mm.
Believe
But
me,
you
New
know,
York
it's
State-
the little things like that, though. They make big differences.
In this day and age, we should be able to do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
that was a funny one.
That's your phone might be
Hey,
Hispanic. Karina's
That was
got you.
good.
Got she's got them covered on that one. No, I think these are really good points everybody's making on here. And what I want to see is more, I mean, I know David Maki is on the call. He is so consistent with his social media. Dude, every day. He's on there every day, posting every day. If you do not know him, he's a wonderful male ally. You should be connected to him. Hi, David.
Hey, Cheryl, how are you?
I am spectacular. And this was the gentleman, by the way, on the Sip and Savor, whenever he was talking about the article that day. He is the author of the article that was, everybody was like, did you guys see that article? Did you see that article? It was, and I felt like
Yeah.
so important. I was like, I got to name drop David. I was like, I know him.
They're too kind. I got a new one out today, by the way. at
I
FA.
saw
Yeah.
FA magazine. They do good jobs there. So, but you're very consistent as well. And, you know, he's very
love
on a roll
I love
talking
it.
about one particular topic in general. And if anybody knows him, they know it's his desire to make certain that men are including women in the planning because they don't. 2023, they
No.
don't.
They don't, and if they don't change, they won't have a career. Pretty simple.
Well, I told Cheryl this story, and some of you might have heard it on one of the calls. Not last year, we were doing a lead gen program, and we got this gentleman, inherited a bunch of money from his father. It was all over the place. He needed help. We hit it off. Me and my business partner had an appointment with him and his wife. We talked to the wife. We built the wife into the plan. They had 3 other advisors that they were going to interview before they made a decision. All 3 of them did not acknowledge the wife one bit because the inheritance was his, not hers in their mind. I don't believe that. That's why I got them as a client. And they're a multi-million-dollar client now. That the main reason we got them over the other 3 was we incorporated the wife in the plan. We made sure we talked about life insurance for her. We weren't able to get it for her because she had breast cancer too close. We will get it for her eventually, but we had it too close to the meeting. So in another couple of years, we can go and apply for it for her because she knows it's important. They have a young family, but we had her in the plan.
Yeah. I know David's got to hop to a call. Thank you for being here today.
Oh,
Actually,
thank you.
yeah. And I know we're getting at time anyway. Any final questions and thoughts on this? And Domenick, what are some of your aspirations for this year in your social? You're coming up on a 1 year now.
Well, there will be a podcast. It's been delayed. Because when I told when I told my EVP about what I was doing, he had told me that the company was talking about the same mindset. So I think they might want to incorporate this because the CEO wants to talk to me, and I know it's not going to be a bad thing because the CEO doesn't take his time to talk to people. So it would have already been out. If you follow me on the social media, you know what it is. So you got to go find it. I'm going to make you go search my site to find what's coming out. Because I have talked about it. Maybe you'll learn something as you search the site that'll benefit you. But that is my next big thing, is to get a podcast, speaking engagements, and the thing I said I wanted to get 3 more.
Yep.
By the end of the year on time. I already got 1, so I got 2 more to go. Because I got the one that I told
Yep.
Cheryl about in the call today. And it's just putting yourself out there. It's literally just,
just share the things.
A guy had a
Share the
he
things.
actually is a male ally. And I saw that he had a podcast. I said, I'd love to do an episode. Today, he said, send me your deck. I sent him his deck. And he's like, look, I'm booked up, but this is a great idea. Let's talk about it. We're going to do social media, but it's going to be, so some of the topics that we talked about a little bit more, there's going to be slides that'll show pictures of some of the things I'm talking about. But we're going to do 5-6 minute episodes. So once a week, there's going to be an episode on it. And it's because I asked him.
Yep.
I was at the conference I was at last week. I had my big ego compliment that I got. I didn't get a chance to tell you the show, but I'll tell the story. So a speaker, Cam Marston, I've seen him now twice speak. He talks about generational planning, what this generation likes and what this generation likes, because everybody doesn't like the same things. You talk to millennials, they don't want to see that I'm an AI. They don't care about AIFs and CRCs and all that stuff. But the boomers do. So we were talking, we had a great conversation. It ended that I'm going to be on his podcast because I had the confidence to go talk to him at the bar. When he left the bar to say goodnight to the wholesaler that was his handler that's always at a conference if he's speaking for them, he told her that I was the most engaging conversation he ever had at a conference. If you don't know how big my head went when she told me that, and tears of joy, like that's like the biggest compliment you can ever get, because Cheryl knows all the conferences you go to. If somebody said that to you,
oh yeah, I still get very touched when people invite me to. Oh, absolutely. And I think that's just it, is you do have to kind of get over yourselves and get out there and do it. That's why I said, just publish the things, just share the things. What's the worst that's going to happen? It's a degrading platform. It's just going to not happen. It just falls below the fold and you learn like, that's not good content. Next, and move on. Don't get wrapped up in your head. Like, oh God, people think no, they don't.
It's right. Look, I submitted my first speaking engagement the first one I did, which was actually recommended that I do for this particular conference. It didn't work into their agenda. I didn't get picked, but so I used that agenda, the thing, and I did it.
Yep.
Then I'm actually, last night I was recorded for Advisorist for March 30th. They're doing a virtual conference. And he texted me on Wednesday and emailed me and said, I need your slide deck to look it over. And I'm like, well, I said I could do one, but I don't have it ready. I need the weekend. But now I have a slide deck, which I've shared now a couple times. That's because I created it, and it's building, I forget the exact word, a life of its own.
Yeah, it's evergreen. One of the things I want to leave you guys with, because I want to make sure we're respectful of the time, because we've gone a little over, but going back to a couple of things on here. One, when you do your LinkedIn profile, please, please, please put your bio and your headshot on LinkedIn so people can go there and download it and have you on. Don't make them chase you to go get it. Just make it, even if you want to put it as an entry or put it as one of the addendums onto your experience, or whether you put it up in, please, 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 because that drives people fruitcakes whenever they have to go chase you down to get it. And actually sometimes is the barrier to entry to get you to the speaking engagements and the things that are going on, because they just don't even want to chase the crap down. So make sure that your bio and your headshot's on there. And then I'd like to make certain that I tell everybody, post as often as you're at work. So if you're on a vacation, I don't expect you really to post. I don't. I know people go, oh, it's still going to go while you're that. No. Because then people respond and you don't respond back to them because you're sitting on a beach somewhere. Don't even do that to yourself. Just, you're on a vacation, put a post. See you in a week. I'm going to Aruba. Peace out. And people are going to be like, woo, they're going to get all excited. And then when you come back, guess what? You can post a picture. Aruba was amazing. This is what we learned on that. The 10 things I learned about being in Aruba. And that's exactly it. Don't set yourself up for failure, because I see this happen a lot too, where people are like, they expect me to get back to them when I'm in Seattle. And I'm like, no, they actually don't. You did that. You're posting too much every day.
Like I will slow down on a vacation, but the one thing I do, because I do the same blurb with the Wednesdays and the Fridays, I just pull the article and take the blurb off my laptop, and I'm done in less than 5 minutes. I will not stop that because I want to keep the consistency of my Wednesday and Friday. So that is done.
That is specific. That's Dom's social media.
No, I said it's me. I didn't say that you have to do that, but I want to keep that flow going.
Yeah.
But I only do that. I know where I'm getting the article from, and I know where I'm getting the verbiage, because the verbiage is the same verbiage every week. I just want people to keep coming back to my LinkedIn to look for that, and then hopefully see other stuff.
Yeah.
But that's all. That's my traditional. All I'll do.
Yeah. All right.
And
wonderful.
Yes, Karina, posting personal is why people get to know you.
Yeah.
If I just did business stuff, and you think Cheryl would have had me on this call? The answer is no.
Yeah.
I might have been on the call to hear somebody else, and I probably would have talked half as much as I'm talking now.
He's on all the calls.
Right?
We know him. Yeah. Like, we know you. All right, friends, we're going to give you back your time. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Come back next Tuesday. Elizabeth Ice is going to, from New York, is going to be with us. She's going to be talking about outsourcing those jobs that are sitting around your office so that you can make more money. Okay. So come back 3:00 Central next Tuesday. See you then, friends. Bye now. Take care of yourselves.
Bye.